Today, I'm going to be talking about everything that I've learned in the last 3 years as a social media agency owner. I'm going to be talking about what I've learned about myself as a business owner, what I've learned about other people and their behaviors, especially regarding their own self perception on social media, and then all of the, life advice that I've learned along the way that sometimes it's been mentors that taught me, sometimes it's been bad experiences that taught me, and sometimes it's just things that I had to learn myself through several failures as a business owner. The first couple months of being a business owner, I actually dropped out of college. And the reason I did this was because I was seeing my teachers get laid off during COVID. I found out that the work I was doing in my senior level courses for Kent State University was actually something that Sherwin-Williams had paid for. So I was spending tens of thousands of dollars to do work that another company was paying the university for. And at the same time, I saw all these local businesses struggling to get customers online. And I really just felt like where I was spending my effort trying to get a degree to please my family was effort that I should have been putting into helping actual people who have real businesses try to stay afloat. And so in the first few months, I got a lot of clients. Our only real acquisition was me walking into businesses that were still open and telling them what I did, and a lot of word of mouth referrals. The first big lesson I learned is that you don't want to work with everyone. And especially when you're a beginner, you need to find businesses that are doing much better than you are. And I know that's very hard for anyone who's starting out in, let's say, a sales position, any entrepreneurial role to think, because it's more comfortable to work with other beginners. But it's basically two idiots trying to help each other, and you're never going to know what to do. So the first thing I really learned was how I needed to find better clients, and I also needed to become a better vendor to them. So what that meant was having like crystal clear systems, not being willing to do any service on earth that I knew I could render, but actually starting to niche down what I did so that instead of being a jack of all trades, I could be an expert at one thing. And so I really got my first uphill stride. I would call myself, in hindsight, a freelancer at that point. I was one man. I was doing all of the sales. I was doing all the client management, and I was doing all of the editing, posting, Facebook ad setup, Google ads setup, website development, pretty much any service under the sun. It was just me rendering it. And that was great if that was all I wanted to do. I was making more money than I would have made out of college as a salaried marketing employee anywhere in Ohio, but I was exhausted. I was working 70 to 80-hour weeks, and that was something that really wasn't good for my mental health. And I think a lot of the sacrifices I was making by not going to family events, not going to birthday parties, skipping dinners with my girlfriend, it wasn't a sacrifice I should have been making. It was more a reflection of me not delegating. So at this point, that probably lasted for 4 to 5 months where I was doing everything, serving everyone, and just burning out, truthfully. But I think a lot of us, as Layla Hermosi said, love being miserable as business owners. And this was the first time in my life where I had to accept that I actually was more afraid to hire people and have less stress than to just do everything myself. So one night I'm sitting next to my girlfriend, Katie, and she's showing me this TikTok account that she had for her clothes reselling business. And she was reaching about 60 to 80,000 accounts per month, which if you are a content creator, that's a really great thing to be doing organically. I was in this tough situation where I wanted to hire a person I was in love with. And so I had a conversation with her about what it would look like, how I would pay her, and how this would be an opportunity for her to not have to nanny anymore. And the reality of it was I called my accountant, and it was an emotional risk. It was not a financial risk. The money was there. I was just nervous to let go of some of the control that I had in exchange for someone else to do what they were good at. Within the first day of having her help, I realized that it was foolish for me to try to be a one-man show and make as much money as I can as one person. And I think if you're a business owner listening to this right now, think about yourself. Think about the things that you do solely to control it, and really ask yourself, like, am I the only person that can do this? And the answer is always no. Like, you are not the only person that can do it. If you're a great real estate person, if you are the owner of a home building company, if you are a financial manager, like whatever you do, someone else can do it. Like, I promise you. As I started delegating, I learned that a lot of my team, so editors I had hired, virtual assistants to organize my schedule, and Katie, they were complaining about our clients. And these were things that I'd actually thought to myself plenty of times. They don't upload on time. They don't follow any of our advice. They are inconsistent with everything they're doing. And then they're getting angry with us for the areas they're falling short. I basically had to take a step back and think, okay, am I willing to lose income, a percentage of our income, to make my team less stressed and perform better for those that stay? And that was harder emotionally than delegating tasks, because I actually had to temporarily say goodbye to income to get rid of someone that was negative. Once I did that the first time, I started looking at losing bad clients as winning the space for good clients. And I would guarantee you that anyone out there in a service position who hasn't been through this, it is worth it. And if you're telling yourself it isn't, just try it once. You will find another client. You will get another sale. Whatever you're worried about happening, you will find a way to get out of it. Then, as the company grew, we started getting more editors on our team. We had a VA for myself and a VA for Katie to basically be our second brains. And I decided to start making my own content. So up until 2022, I did not create content for our agency. I did it for all of our clients' businesses, but never ourselves. And you always hear these quotes about how others want to see you win until you're doing better than they are. And this was the first time in our agency that I actually lost more than one client in a month. And it freaked me out. But what was happening was I started creating my own video content. A lot of the agreements I had with our existing clients did not include video. And they assumed that because I was doing it for myself, it would be a free add-on to their agreement. And as an adult, I had to stand up for myself and explain to them that this takes more time, this is a different service, and that I am happy to do it for you, assuming that you're willing to pay the service fee. This caused a lot of disagreements with certain clients. They had a certain resistance to get on the phone with me, and it led to a few cancellations. And at this point, instead of kind of whimpering and being upset about it, it really motivated me. It made me realize that being my own self was going to get me a lot of the people that I wanted to work with, and that if the cost of that is certain people not valuing me, that I'm willing to pay that price. I started to have a different eye when I'm getting on discovery calls. I had a different eye when I'm at networking events trying to meet people that I could potentially work with. I started to realize that healthy clients are a lot easier to find when you know what unhealthy clients look like. I started making my own video. A lot of other people had this moment of, okay, well, shit, I have to make my own videos now too. The whole world is doing it. And if I don't do this, I'm going to lose to someone who is. I think one of the biggest eye openers that I learned is that video exposes a lot of really shitty businesses. If you don't really provide value, or if you're someone who's always just kind of talking at surface level areas and you're not really saying anything of value to anyone watching, video is not a good product for you, because you're just going to make everyone know that you don't know what you're doing. Although I encourage documenting the journey, you need to be very honest with yourself of, are you documenting your journey, or are you pretending to be someone that you aren't? That leads to my next thing I learned, which is your offer is everything. If you don't have an offer, you don't really have a business. You might have an LLC, you might have an S Corp, but you don't have a business that helps people. And when people are going to watch your social media, they're going to want to know how you can help them. We're all selfish people. And if I give you my time, I expect you to give me something back. It might be entertainment. It might be a course where I can learn something to make myself more money, or it might just be advice I need to feel comfortable enough to work with you. If you don't have an offer, then you're really not going to know how to even create content, let alone be confident in the content you're creating. A big one that has come about recently through a few agency wins is that a personal brand and a business brand are different and they overlap. I took a new business in Lakewood that had, like, let's just say under 100 followers on every platform. And now across Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok, they have 7,000, 10,000, and I think 17,000 followers on the respective platforms in that order. Basically, what happened is they went from being a local personal brand to a national brand very quickly. And when that happened, you kind of have to draw the line in the sand of, is this personal content or is this business content? And where are the areas that these two overlap? Because you don't want to give up what made the page blow up in the first place, but you also have a new responsibility to a brand that is going to become national and franchised versus your local starter company brand. A lot of times, if you're in real estate, if you're in financial services, if you're in just B2B business, you have to kind of, before you start creating content, you have to define, am I a business brand, a personal brand, or both? And what that does is that helps your conversation with someone like myself go so much easier, because there's no delusion from the beginning of who you are and who the company is. The biggest lesson I would say I've learned in all of this is that it is going to feel better to take a risk once the risk has been taken. When I started this company, as embarrassing as it is, I got my first stimulus check during COVID lockdowns. And I was so paranoid that the government wasn't going to give a second stimulus check to anyone that spent their money irresponsibly, that I thought buying an LLC is the most responsible thing I can do. And in hindsight, that wasn't the case. They were just throwing money to everyone. But what it did was it gave me this basically opportunity vehicle to where when I bought the LLC, I had no clients. I was still working a $11 an hour internship. And it was very hard for me to even know what running a business would look like. But I think what I knew in my heart was that I couldn't go the other way. I couldn't take a boring desk job. I couldn't take something safe and guaranteed, because the illusion of those jobs being safe and guaranteed is very real. I've seen my parents get laid off from corporate six-figure jobs with, one email on a Monday morning. And if you are a business owner who knows that maybe your risk is hiring someone, maybe your risk is I need to delegate our blog writing. I need to find a social media manager because I can't do this myself. Or if you're a realtor, maybe it's, hey, I can't keep selling all these houses. I need a listing agent. I need a buyer's agent. Whatever it is for you, just understand that risk always feels better once you've taken it. And the longer you think about something, the longer you're going to put off the inevitable. So I do plan to make a lot more videos like this, a lot less filtered and a lot more honest about my personal experience. But if you found any value in this video, the one action I ask you to take is to go take a risk yourself, whether it's starting a business, whether it's hiring someone, whether it's just doing a side hustle if you still have a 9-to-5 job. There are so many opportunities in the world, and for you to not do something that you think you're good at is not only a disservice to yourself, but it's a disservice to all of the people that would benefit from what you can do. So I will see you next time, and I appreciate you for watching this long.